I'm Emma.
And I'm Shawn.
And we're from St. John the Baptist in West Frankfort. I felt called to be married at a very young age. But when I was 17, my best friend said she was going to enter the convent. And that made me go, well, I need to enter the convent too. Maybe I should think about it. So I prayed about it and really went through the stages of, what convent would be good for me, where should I go. And in college, I visited the Sisters of St. Francis of the Martyr St. George in Alton with another friend, and it was there that I had like that perfect aha moment where God was saying, no, your vocation is marriage. So from then on, I knew I was supposed to be married, but I was so content with being single, I wasn't even concerned about finding my future spouse. And then a mutual friend of ours introduced us, and I keep saying he wouldn't leave me alone.
Persistence.
And then eventually, it actually was no time at all. We dated 6 months before we were engaged. But through all that time, I continued to pray and just ask God for His guidance and His will in showing us. In fact, we hadn't even been dating very long, and I was at adoration and praying about Him and the whole situation. And it was there God had revealed to me that He was my future spouse. So I knew way before He proposed. We had talked about it, any of that sort, but at the same time I continued to pray and ask God's guidance and be sure that that's what God had wanted.
To me, I would say my faith-wise, it's more of a deeper faith for the, I guess I should say, the creation and the two becoming one. Before I was married, obviously I saw God's blessings in family and, stuff of that sort. But obviously with me and Emma becoming married and she becoming one, and now we've got 3 great kids, and just having children alone is another example of God's blessing that you just really can't describe, the feeling that you have. So that's kind of really strengthened my bond, and my love for Him is in, thank you for this opportunity, thank you for these blessings that you just don't really get when you're single.
And the way I see it is, there's been times where, as a husband and as a father, I've seen Shawn, protect me and protect the children, and say and do things that have made me go, that's God's love. That it made me think of Jesus on the cross and how much how much He loves us and how much love He poured out for us. So it's strengthened in that sense, that I'm able to see and feel God's love more real and more tangible. But it's also made God's love more sacrifice. Because there's been many times that I've had to sacrifice something that I wanted, or something that, maybe a little argument or something I've had to sacrifice through that. And then it reminds me that in this life, we are called to bring each other to heaven. That's what our sacrament in our marriage is to bring each other to heaven.
I think the first thing is by example. We've got to live an example of Christ, and not just as individuals, but as a couple, and because the kids are going to learn from our example. I think another of it is through prayer. We make sure that we pray every night as a family before we go to bed. We attend Mass every week, together as a family.
Regardless of where we are.
Yeah, whether we're out of town or wherever. So by prayer life, by example, by attending Mass, teaching what the faith is about, where it's come from. I think that's some of the ways that we have passed it on to the kids.
One thing that I enjoy doing with the kids is, if it's a big feast day, I'll do an arts and crafts thing with them, or we'll make some, like for Divine Mercy Sunday, we make ice cream sundaes and put red and blue M&Ms on it, and that's our ice cream, our Divine Mercy Sunday, you know, and we talk about the significance of the feast and why it's important and what we can do to continue to live it out. And then on the way to school every day, we pray a rosary and we talk about the saint of the day. And sometimes that saint of the day is a doctor. So we talk about what the difference between a doctor of the church is and what a doctor is if you're sick, you know. So they can answer some of the tougher questions, I guess, but not necessarily all of them. So we try to do what we can to spread the faith to our kids and make it fun and exciting for them.
Definitely pray about it. God is definitely the center of any marriage, or should be, because you're going to have a lot of sacrifice as an individual for your future spouse and future family. There's going to be rough times, you know, and there's going to be a lot of good times. And you're going to need God's guidance and God's love to get you through some of that. And so I would say definitely pray, keep God in the marriage, even through the rough times, to make sure that He stays with you. And the good times will outweigh the bad.
And just continue to pray, ask for God's guidance, ask friends to pray for you and with you. And they can sometimes be that beacon that God needs to speak through to you.